Today, I'll be exploring shaping digital products in 2025 and beyond. And our focus will be on Nigeria and Africa. That's where we'll be focusing on today. Today, I'll be having a very special guest, someone I met on social media and also at an event here in Nigeria. Together, we'll reflect on the key trends in digital products development this year, examine opportunities for 2026, and discuss how technology, policy, and entrepreneurship intersect to shape Nigeria's tech landscape. I'm joined today by, I just hope I don't make mistake pronouncing your surname, please. Unyime, Sarah, Tommy. Unyime, thank you for joining me on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Hmm. I hope I didn't make mistakes in pronouncing your name.
No, you did not. So, Unyime is correct. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Now, how can you can you share your journey into tech and what led you to start Assurdly?
Okay. So I think overall, I would say that my background has been tilted towards tech from day one. Right. Now,
Mm,
the different opportunities I've been exposed to has kind of led me into it from
mm,
primary, secondary. We had computer education as one of our courses, which was kind of like a mandatory course up until your senior WAEC, right? So
mm,
it was not an option as it were. So I would say that that opportunity was
mm,
there. And that also kind of led me to tilt away from the initial course of preference to
mm,
information communication technology in my undergrad. And then I
mm,
was now opportune to get a job at InterSwitch, where I started out as a quality assurance analyst. And I think that's
mm,
basically, in a nutshell, how the journey began. And then
mm,
basically, so that actually took precedence to starting out assuredly, because assuredly pretty much is me turning my 9 to 5 to a service. So
mm,
basically, what we did
mm,
on the day-to-day activity and on the job is what has become assuredly of today, which is software
mm,
testing, project management, product management around digital products.
mm. Now, how would you describe the state of digital product development in Nigeria in 2025?
I would say that I've seen a bit more maturity in comparison to the years past, right? And I think
Mm,
the AI trend has also enabled that, because not only has it enabled the engineers to turn around faster, it has also enabled the non coders, as it were, so the no code categories of the tech ecosystem, to also be able to
mm,
pass down their ideas in tangible forms, right? So they can, before you even get a developer to come in and having to do the entire build out, you can more or less prototype test run your ideas before you take it out to someone to pretty much finalize it, right, and become a finalized
mm,
a finished product. So I would say that the product development in 2025 has been seen more maturity over the years, because they are now more enabling tools, more enabling infrastructure, and more and overall access to these tools and this infrastructure.
mm. Now, what were the biggest successes and challenges for product builders in Nigeria this year?
I would say I think the challenges have got us. I would start with the challenges. So the challenges would be still talent, right? The brain
Mm,
drain still continues, right? So we are losing more
mm,
talent to um, will I call it to what they call that now? Japa, yes. So we're losing more talent to people living in the country, and most often, and it's more, will I call it more painful now, because for the people that are even living now, there are people that you might have even started building out the products with. So like your core foundational
mm,
staffs are like the ones that are living. So that's one of the challenges that I would say has been faced. And one of the wins I would say that has also come with is, like I already mentioned, the maturity part. So having AI, at the advancement in the AI space right now has been great,
mm,
which has kind of, will I say, you can almost 10x a 1x engineer somehow, if you are able to put in the necessary structure, the tools, and the guidance, right? You can 10x a 1x. So losing out on your 10x, which is the talent drain, right? You are now exposed to tools that can enable you enhance and improve a 1x engineer. So in as much as we have the drain, we also now our now the wins here is that okay, it's not like a total loss, but then it's still taxing on the organizations because you still need for you to get a 1x to a 10x, you still need to train people. And but then you now have enabling tools to do those training and make those training a lot more easier and faster. So I would say that would for me would serve as a win as much as it's also like a challenge overall.
Mm, mm. How has technologies like AI and maybe mobile apps, maybe low code or no code platform, how has it changed product building in Nigeria?
I was like I mentioned earlier, like it has, would like say it has increased pace, right? It has made things a lot more
Mm,
faster. I can iterate an idea very quickly now, right? I can brainstorm like thanks to the different AI tools available today. You can brainstorm your ideas. You have tools like local, which you can even build out the entire thing you're thinking about. So a prototype that
mm,
people can even start using and giving you feedback. So the impact so far has been significant because it has reduced the dependence. It has more or less reduced the need for more hands, right? But that's also increased the need for smarter hands, right? So it's more like you don't need more people,
mm,
but you need more smart people, right? More like more
mm,
people that are executioners, people that are forward thinking and driven, right? Because the tools are there that can take you to your next point, but a tool is as good as the person using it, right? So if you don't have a smart person, if you don't have a forward thinking person, then these tools are as good as not even being available to start with.
mm. From a Nigerian or an African perspective, which sectors are showing the most promise for digital product innovation?
I would say, I think overall, I think it's payment that has been trying to pave the way for us because the barrier to entry for that has been a bit low, meaning that you don't need like a physical infrastructure to get that up and running. So
Mm,
fintech as area has been promising. And I think of recent the logistics area as well has also seen a bit more of promise, right? At least we all know now that taking your package from point A to point B is no longer as strenuous as it used to be years back, right? So I want to send an item right now. I go into my Uber app, I go into my Bolt app, any of those app, right? I just request, and in less than 5 minutes, someone is already on my door ready to pick up the item and deliver. So the
mm,
logistics industry has seen great advancements as well. And we've also seen that the fintech as well. So fintech now cuts across any form, like anything that has to do with you paying for something, right? So the
mm,
the typical digital banking experiences have increased because right now the competition is very stiff. So everybody's looking for customers, and then you make sure that whatever you're giving to these customers, it's top notch. So that's right. So the experiences have improved. Banks are being more, even the like call it the bigger banks, are responding more now with um, more advanced products or features that would bring back the customers because one way or the other the fintechs are taking these customers based on the features they have and this ones don't have, right? So that competition like that has been promising, so there's like a lot of advancement in that aspect. And then yeah, so that I think that's like two key aspects in Nigeria or in Africa overall we have seen. And I think for
mm.
the cross-border payments or regional payments as well, there's been a bit more
Yeah.
improvement in that area, so that at least to an extent, I think maybe in 2026 I will see more advancement there where I can easily now send money to other African countries. Let's just leave the other continents, but at least within Africa itself. So I think there's a bit more concentration in that area, right, to solve that problem so that eh, trading will be a lot more easier for us. So the fintech and the logistics aspects, yeah.
Mm. Okay, now let's look at infrastructure. How important is it? Things like, let's say, electricity, reliable internet, cloud services. How important is infrastructure for scaling digital products in Nigeria?
I would say it's everything, right? Like the infrastructure is everything
Okay.
because yes, we want to when we finish with talent drain, let's say we now have the talent. I think I was in a conversation last week where he was speaking about the infrastructure that they needed to be able to scale Andela, and like as of today they still don't have such infrastructure that's able to more or less house, like we don't have an average complex, we don't have a company building or like a corporate building per se. Let's say I want to get a corporate building. I don't. The opportunities for having, or rather, the availability of these buildings for large scale company size is not available, which means that let's say if I want to house 500 to 1,000 developers, that could be almost impossible because we don't have the infrastructure. And this infrastructure cost across, it goes from the building to the internet then to the power, because you need the building to power it and then put internet in it, right? So the infrastructure is one of the is a very, very like it's of huge impact overall. And let's even say, okay, let's say that everybody decides to work from home, right? Don't come to an office, right? Okay, we now come back to the fundamentals, there's lights, right? And then when you finish with lights, you move into internet, because that's one of the issues that today we also face, right? Because our study runs 100% remote. And I think for to an extent, we've kind of solved power, but we still not solved the internet problem because people are in different locations, and different location means that there are different telcos or fiber that could be stronger here but not stronger. So you cannot like do a mass support for everybody. Like everybody has distinct requirement based on their location. So it's more or less it still needs a bit more improvement, right? Not a bit, a lot of improvements actually, because I think for people, I think when I was in Akwa where we met, right, I think one of my challenge there was actually the internet because I had lights was not a problem. There was lights, but now I do not have internet because the bandwidth there was kind of poor. I rarely got 5G with MTN throughout my stay there, so I cannot imagine people working from there on a daily basis. You know how they struggle to be able to keep up with pace because once your internet is slow, every other thing is slow because everything is on the cloud today. So it means that if I want to access a document, even this call we are having, right, I can't have this call fluently, clearly, with a slow internet, even if I have lights.
Now let's look at policy. What government policy or support structure could help accelerate the growth of digital product ecosystem in Nigeria and largely in Africa?
I think so. What's policies, right? I think the enable. I think the as of today, right? There are enabling factors already. There are policies already. It's more like implementations of these policies that have already been defined. I think in the education system as well. There are things that we are now more aware of that we know that okay, the curriculum can tilt more towards this area because where there's some things we all learned, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, that are no longer relevant. And there are things that are of relevance right now. Just like how we see the Asian countries do, where they've upgraded their curriculums to have things around AI and what's the name of that thing? Software development, the whole data analysis and everything, right? These are things that I feel that from the education standpoint, because you can, most of us are learning on the job, most of us learned on the job, right? None of us was like actually taught what we are currently doing today in our various jurisdictions. But I feel that if this information and this knowledge is passed from the very like from where the brain is formed, from where the knowledge is formed, right? It would significantly enhance our talent drain because people are coming out pretty much trained. Because today, what's happening right now is that when they now come into the organizations, the training now begins. So you don't get value from an entry level staff till give or take 6 months to a year down the line, right? Because this information are pretty much new to them. They're just coming to the ecosystem for the first time. So policies that drive the education curriculum to focus on the tech trends and the tech the tech skills that are required in this era and the age that we are going into is something that the government policies can work towards, because once we have that catered for, then it means that we kind of would be solving our brain drain issue hand in hand. So as the companies are training, education system is training, you are more or less finding a balance one way or the other.
Now let's discuss a bit about Assuredly, which is where you are the managing partner. How is Assuredly? How does it ensure that the products you build are relevant and tailored to local Nigerian and African challenges?
Okay, so first thing first, we are building out a founder's idea or a company's idea, right? So we are not the idea like call it initiators, right? We basically are bringing to life what you have ideated or what you have thought about, right? And when you come to us, we are asking you those questions that would make you think deeper, right? So, and I think one of the questions I go about this year, this one of the questions I learned this year was to ask everybody first of who is your customer, like who is your like do you have not the customer you think you have, who is the customer that would use this product the minute it is ready? Like, do you know someone like if you tell me now, oh, there's StreamYard, right? Okay, I want to build a tool like StreamYard. Okay, who would use StreamYard the day it's live? Like, you are guaranteed that once this product is live, they would sign up and they would use it, right? Because once you take it from that point, right, it helps you to make clearer decisions, clearer features, know what the alternatives in the market for your competitors are in the market, to know what to now build that would indeed bring that customer you have identified, to indeed come and use the products. So for us, that's basically how we work. We try to bring your realities to you, right? So yes, those questions sometimes turn out to you not building at all, which it's not necessarily doesn't bring revenue to us, but overall, right, it's still but it saves everybody time because in giving you that advice as well, we also believe that we've created a room for trust and that you would definitely come back when you have the clarity and the conviction that you need to be able to build out because every product is a success of the founder or the owner overall, right? So if you are not convinced and committed to it, that product, no matter how good it is, will definitely not succeed in the market. So we need you to be very sure that that is what you want, and and you are sure that okay, the market you are going into, indeed needs this, and it's not just one other feature that another product already has embedded in it.
Now, for upcoming tech entrepreneurs, what skills or strategies should they focus on to succeed in 2026?
I would. So I think I said it very well. I said it around. I think I had a similar conversation last week with
Yeah.
the. I think I was a guest lecturer in for an entrepreneurial class in Unilag, and it was almost like, and we're talking about MVP in that class. And one of the things that was called out in that session, which is basically what every entrepreneur should look out to, is to validate often. And then like validate often meaning that okay, this idea you have, right, validate it, understand where you're going, so what are your alternatives, because if you are building something for somebody, right, or rather if you are building a solution, right, obviously somehow you identify the problem, the pain points, you need to know okay, what have people been doing to solve for it? That's the alternative, right? What have people been using? Is it what are the manual processes? Was the manual process? What are the products that we use? You need to understand that entire ecosystem to know that to have conviction on, to also understand what you are building for. Because if you are building something that is not better than the alternative, then you are just not solving the problem. You're not building another products. So for entrepreneurs for 2026, you need to focus on value creation. And value creation means that you're not just building something else, you're building something that indeed solves a problem for you as a business, which is money. So, for example, I say that you should charge early because whatever you are building, you need to be sure that people will pay for it. So, you need to build something that adds value to people because it's value that people are paying for, not whether it's fine, whether it's ugly. People are paying for value. So for next year, validate often. Be sure that what you are bringing in, adds value. Yeah, not just even if you have the resources, right? There's room for experiments, yes, but once you realize that the experiment is not working, fail fast, fail quickly, iterate quickly, and also validate.
Let's discuss a bit because of time. Let's discuss a bit about collaboration. For your own opinion, how do you think collaboration between, let's say, startups, tech firms, and educational institutions can strengthen the product ecosystem in Nigeria?
I think collaboration would go a long way because, like I mentioned, there's the talent aspect of things, there's the solution aspect of things. So collaboration also means that what I'm building, right? That's why I asked, okay, who's your first customer? Your first customer can be one that's paying for it, can be free, right? So, but if you have collaboration, then you kind of would have someone that can immediately help you test your ideas. So, collaboration helps you with validating your ideas because if you have the right collaborators, you will know where to take your solution to, where you get your answers quickly from. In terms of institutions as well, right? I know that where people are trying, like the schools today do the whole sideways program, the IT, where you come and do your internship for I think for some courses 6 months, or some courses 3 months, and all that. We need to do more of that, right? That needs to, and I think one of the things I wanted to do this year, but I didn't get the necessary response I needed. But is that I even feel that the secondary school is even too late, right? I'm sorry, university is too late. If we can even start from secondary school, right? Because all this information that we are pretty much exposed to, the reason we know them now is because of we're just exposed to them now. If you were exposed to them earlier enough in life, you would have still understood what is happening around you and understand it. So I feel that, the education system more now should be more open towards, seeing ways to collaborate with industries to start placing people so that they get real life experiences that would further enhance even their learning. Because one of the things I know is that when you see something in action, it's easy to comprehend and understand it as against, territory. So educational systems now needs to be partnering up with institutions and organizations rather than companies, right? And see how students can be placed from time to time. Because I think in the abroad, people start working at 18, right? So what's stopping us from doing that? If you have the time, and then for organizations, you create curriculums or you create structures that support those kind of work. This thing, because if someone, I had the opportunity of doing that for one of our A-level students, right? He wasn't necessarily in the day-to-day operations, but I know that him just being in a structured environment where he sees, oh, this is how you respond to email, this is how you talk in an environment, this is how you attend meetings. That skill is not something they'll teach in a classroom. It's something you have to experience, right? And at that point, also in his life, so there's room for failure because he's just starting out. There's understanding across everybody that's working with him that, oh, he's just starting out. So you have more grounds and rooms to learn, fail, relearn again, and all that. So the two organizations from the education, and I feel that with that we can actually build proper talent pipeline, which even if people are leaving, you already know that there are people that are already pre-trained, to be able to join into the workforce as quickly as they leave school as well.
Now, as a woman in tech, what unique challenges have you faced, and what advice would you give to other women who are just entering the space?
Well, I think this morning I was thinking about things, and I realized that actually I won't say I've actually faced. I won't actually say I've faced challenges, but I would say that yes, I know the bias exists, right? And but then also I also know that the bias are dignified or more or less eliminated when you show up and you show up 100, like you show up consistently, you are good at what you do, and you are confident, right? Because there's something that happens when people cannot talk down on you, and when they realize that, oh, this person, they cannot talk down on you, they cannot find fault in your work. Because if you cannot find fault in my work, what else, what will you, like, what can you tell me, or what will you drag me about? There's nothing to drag me for, because I'm doing my work well, I'm showing up when I need to show up, right? And I'm confident, right? So what I'll say is that for everyone, in fact, it's not even a matter of even a woman or a man, a woman or a man, like it's across all genders. If you are consistent in what you do and you are good at what you do, the respect automatically comes. Your gender becomes like everybody becomes gender neutral. Oh, this is the person that will. Once they realize you're the one that will solve the problem, nobody cares whether it's a man or a woman, but this is the person that can solve the problem. Everybody becomes gender neutral. So for a woman, yes, I would say that the bias exists. However, right, is a function of your confidence, your consistency, and your attitude to work, and you being able to deliver. Your competence is everything. If you are competent at what you do, people adjust regardless of the gender.
Now, we're winding up 2025 and we're heading into 2026. What are the plans for Assuredly for you? What are those plans that you think are there or you're planning to do? So give us an idea. I'm not saying you should expose everything. Just give us an idea so people can.
Well, first thing first, we're closing for the year. So we close for the year. So actually, so the Friday before Christmas, we always, to the last weekend before Christmas, we close for the year. So that's what I would say that currently I am looking forward to, because it has been a long year. Because I think for me, that is my own personal leave, aside all, because everybody goes on leave, but my leave is when everybody goes on leave. So now that everybody is gone, so me too. And so I would say that. So that's one of the things I'm looking out for. The planning for the new year is obviously emotion, right? I think one of the things which is doing more of this. Like, so one of the things we are looking forward to do, to be more digitally present as much as we can. We are also physically present where we can as well. So in as much as we say about digital, but we know that it's not everybody that would be online. So we need to find ways and optimize ways to see how we can reach out to both those that are online, those that are offline, and see how we can give them the services that they need or meet everybody basically where they are. So that would say overall that's our plans for as the year rounds down. So closing for the year and gearing up for next year.
My final question to you, if you can answer this quickly. What excites you most about the future of digital products in 2026, both for Nigeria and African tech landscape?
I think one of the things that excites me, I think there's now more clarity, right? So one of the things that this year has taught us is that if your company is still standing, then it means that you're doing something. You are doing something significant, right? So there's now clarity, and it means that when you go into 2026 right now, we are also we all know that the money that was flying around years ago are no longer flying around. So now people are now more revenue focused and value driven, and that in itself is a very good place to be, because it means that you are building something, not just a pet project, not just an idea. Your idea has materialized, has become something. So if you make it to 2026, it's basically the year to push for more and scale and do better.
Unyime Sarah Tommy, managing partner at Assuredly. Thank you for joining me on the show this week.
Thank you for having me.